Hello. 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 Hey, that was me. My computer overheated. I think it might do it again, so this might be it for my stream. But going nuts. Actually, yeah, if we're talking about stuff going on in the US, we've got this guy over here. He's big idiot number one. Basically, Republicans backed him, and now they're figuring out that he's got this whole scandalous side to him, and they have no idea what to do with it. Because now it's all about this whole thing about him. Hold on.
Embattled Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker is again pushing back against that explosive report that he paid for an ex-girlfriend to have an abortion more than a decade ago. At a campaign event yesterday, Walker again calling the allegations a lie. He claims that he does not know his accuser. Walker's trying to unseat Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. The crucial seat could potentially help flip.
So, anyways, this guy has been sitting there saying that, he's all for. All right, calm down, Al Roker. So, anyways, we're still debating about that. And on top of that, this guy, Herschel Walker, basically ended up with this whole thing about being like, the anti-abortion candidate, and he's all big on whoops. Whoops. Yeah, so he was talking about being all anti-abortion and everything, and on the Republican side, basically just spitting the same Republican, you know, line, the party line. And then out of nowhere, this woman comes out being like, "Hey, not only is he like a guy who paid for my abortion, but he's also the father of one of my kids." Like it's all over the place here. Let me see. He responds to this report. Let's see, Fox News. What do you have to say about this?
Figured out they're going to lose. Herschel's going to win, so they're going to throw everything under the sun at him. I talked Herschel.
Yeah, he's just going to deny. And the Republicans just have nothing to do. Honestly, I would love to be a Republican, but I'm a Democrat. And the only reason I am is because the Republicans don't have a plan. They know what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. And that's my problem with them, because they want a strong economy, but every time they try to get one, they do a move that then leaves us in more debt, not less. And so that's not a strong economy. That's just like reckless spending. And then they say the Democrats are spending recklessly, trying to fix the debt that was created by Republicans. So it just kind of keeps going back and forth here. And honestly, like I would love to be a Republican that says that like the economy is strong, conservative values, and all that stuff. But it's just not there. That's just not what the Republican Party is. It'd be nice if they were, but that's not who they are. Now, would I go for a moderate Democrat, someone that's just kind of, you know, strong on the economy, but also realistic about the fact that, clean energy has to be the way of the future, or else Florida's going to be underwater before we have a chance to do anything about it? Yeah. It'd be nice. It'd be nice. Like, I'm not saying that we have to give everybody free houses or anything, but like, Florida's about to be underwater, and we just can't keep going the way we are. Like, it's nuts. But all right, so he knows her.
Not at all, and that's what
What?
I hope everyone can see. It's sort of like everyone is anonymous or everyone is leaking, and they want you to confess to something you have no clue about, but it just shows how desperate they are right now.
Deny.
And I know that.
Deny.
And I knew it when I got into
That's
this
the plan.
race, but they don't realize that I think they came for the wrong one. They energized me.
They energize me because I know how they really want to try to keep this seat. And if I let them keep this seat, that means we're going to have high taxes. That means that this border going to stay wide open. That means we're going to have crime on the street. Well, that's the reason I came. We can't do that.
So see, those are all great points. Like, I do want safe streets. I do want a strong economy. I don't want like recklessness going on everywhere. But at the same time, the way we go about it, it doesn't work. Like when they said that they wanted a wall on the border, we have drones. We have drones. They terrified the fuck out of Afghan children for like, a decade. Why can't we put those on the border? That'd be so much easier. That'd be like 1,000 times easier. Like, hold on, let me show you these drones. U.S. military drones. Let's say 2022. We've got
Military drones can carry aircraft ordnance such as rockets, anti-tank guided missiles, and bombs, as well as hardpoints for drone strikes. They are used for intelligence surveillance, target acquisition, and reconnaissance.
like you could just zoom over and just go pew 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 and know exactly how many people were crossing the border, exactly where they were, and just arrange for somebody to pick them up and then turn them right around and say whatever it is they were going to say. Do it the right way, legally, whatever it is.
Real time with varying degrees of autonomy. In the modern world, drones carry out most aerial operations, including air-to-ground missiles or laser-guided bombs. Even
Laser-guided bombs.
air capability raises the question of how long manned military jets will last before becoming a historical curiosity.
Yeah, actually, they were saying that recently most of the U.S. pilots don't actually go anywhere. They just kind of like sit there and da 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 da. Like most U.S. pilots nowadays just control one of these things, like just on a computer.
The MQ-5B
And this stuff is nuts.
Operational with the U.S. Armed Forces for the last 20 years, meeting all the U.S. Department of Defense standards. Kilo laser-guided bombs and TL-10
Laser-guided bombs.
Loon can endure for 32 hours and cruise at a maximum speed of 199 knots. It possesses a maximum takeoff weight of 4,200 kilograms and a Rainbow UAV. CH-5 was designed and developed
by this is a Chinese one.
Ancestor Predator and can carry 500% more payload. It can reach maximum altitudes up to 50,000 feet. It has a top speed of 240 knots and an endurance of 27 hours. Operated by
Am I still debating about Israel and Palestine? We're always debating Israel and Palestine. We're always debating that. And like it's a stupid argument, really. Because back in the day, when we first established the country and said, hey, Israel's going to be a part of this land here, we probably should have thought about more of the cultural implications of doing something like that. Nowadays, they're an aggressive country attacking their neighbors. Like, even if you still want to dispute that area where they're fighting all the time, it's just an aggressive country. Like, again, countries that break the UN Charter should not be allowed in the UN. They should be suspended. They should be removed. They should have to reapply with time. I don't know if Israel's a member. I think they are. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But I know that we're giving them a lot of help to kill a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm pro-Palestine. I'm just saying that that's not our problem. I don't know who's attacking who. Israel's attacking their neighbors. Palestine's attacking their neighbors. They're both attacking each other. But we should not be involved as the U.S. We should be involved as the UN. Oh, all right, yeah.
Missiles at the city of Zaporizhia. These weren't military targets. They were apartments. Local officials say several residents were killed, but others...
Although, to be fair, I don't know enough about it.
Biden pardoning thousands of people convicted.
Wait, where was the Herschel Walker story?
I'm Chris Hayes. The
Yes.
Herschel Walker story keeps getting worse for Herschel Walker. Earlier this week, of course, the Daily Beast first reported that Walker, the Trump-endorsed Republican nominee for Georgia's Senate seat, had paid for a woman's abortion in 2009. And the report contained lots of contemporaneous evidence that has not been reviewed by us here at NBC News.
Oh.
But it included the
So just allegations.
procedure, the check Walker sent the woman, and even the get well card Walker apparently mailed her, complete with what sure looks like his signature. Now, as we've said, NBC News is not independently verified.
You just got back? Oh boy, you missed it. All right, so basically this guy, the Republican that I was talking about, you support Palestine? Okay, cool. I mean, I really don't know enough about the argument either way. It's one of those things where, again, the United Nations should step in as a negotiating party, maybe even put in some troops on either side and just kind of enforce the fact that there should be a non-aggressive way to solve those issues. But either way, there's no real point in just sending weapons over for them to just bomb schools all the time. But getting back to this guy. So this is Herschel Walker. He's one of the upcoming Republican candidates. There's going to be an election in a month. And the problem we're having is that apparently, so he's denying all these allegations, but the things that they said that they had, the evidence, is
get well card Walker apparently mailed her.
Check, get well card. Yep, he paid for it. So they're saying that he doesn't support it and everything, and they're like, well, but he did it, and his son actually came out with a whole thing saying all that stuff. Here, hold on.
In the country months after the Supreme Court got rid of Roe. Walker said he supports a national abortion ban without any exceptions, including for rape and incest. He has compared abortion to murder. And it is that crushing hypocrisy with real-world consequences that inspired the mother of one of his children to come forward with this allegation. She told the Daily Beast, quote, "He seemed pretty pro-choice to me. He was pro-choice, obviously." Going on to say, quote, "He didn't accept responsibility for the kid we did have together, and now he isn't accepting responsibility for the one we didn't have." That says so.
Boom! So, yeah, it's the part that makes this even more credible isn't just that it's that someone that he paid the abortion for. It's that she also has one of his children and has raised him without him or something. So the family values candidate for the Family Values Party has apparently thrown out every single family value and done this whole crazy shit here. And that's what people are loving about this, because Republicans are all about the feel of it, the religious and the ideal and all that crap. And this guy is just too hard for Republicans to carry all the way to the election.
Is there anything you need to be forgiven for vis-a-vis a woman whose name we do not know? Do you know who this woman is, and do you need to be forgiven?
Well, that's what's so funny, and I'm saying I've been forgiven because of all the things I did when I went to the thing with my ex-wife and all that. And
yeah, that's really the problem, is that the presidency just got so boring after Trump. I mean, at the same time, it's been effective and he's done good stuff, but it just got boring. There used to be news every day. I mean, it was also having a little mini heart attack every day, but there was something big happening all the time. Nowadays, it's just all these people saying, oh, the same old business. I think we've got Mark Rubio. No, not Mark Rubio. DeSantis wants to be the Republican candidate, and so does Greg Abbott. And they're both governors for the most Republican states we have, and also just total fuckheads. They're just they're just dumb, is what it is. Florida decided not to prepare for hurricanes, and then they got hurricanes. Yeah, that's what it is. It's Biden, and then there's these people that don't know what they're doing. They just want to be contrary to everything. Like, he doesn't know if he's pro-choice or pro-life, but apparently he's definitely, whatever it takes to be a Republican candidate. And then we've got all these other Republican candidates that are just trying to be contrarian. That's really what it is. They just don't want to go with the supposed flow of things. We're all trying to push them in one direction, and they all just want to stop. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt when they finally realize that to survive, to thrive, you got to change. You got to adapt. Like Biden saying that he wants to talk to Venezuela about this oil business. Like, come on, man. Nuts.
So that's not nothing. But remember, that special reserve is really meant to manage supplies, not regulate prices. It's meant to sort of fill the gap if there's a supply interruption, for say, because of a natural disaster or a Middle East war or embargo. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
And so if he opens that up, he can drop prices, but we'd also be tapping into our
the Arab oil embargo. So we want to be sure that we just don't keep sticking a Band-Aid on a long-term problem.
Absolutely. The president.
And see, that's the other problem. We haven't invested in transferring over to something that's not reliant on oil. And we could. We've got the ability to. Like, we have plenty of solar, wind, everything. Like, we could drastically cut down our oil consumption. We just choose not to. And if we did, then it'd be really, really easy to just say, oh, you guys are cutting production. Oh, I guess them's the breaks, right? Sucks. And then we would just release this and it'd drop instantly.
And also trying to negotiate the controversy around his trip to Saudi Arabia earlier this year, that famous, infamous fist bump that he did with Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince, a man with blood on his hands. Many believe.
Yeah, that fist bump meant nothing.
The Washington Post.
We are. No, we really are. We are. Actually, if you really want to get into it, it's a crazy topic. It's all about our roads, really. Like, the roads here are terrible. Basically, we didn't make any ability for commuter travel. We didn't make any pathways for people to walk on or anything. Everything is car dependent. Like, there is no... I live in a small town, and I never leave without my car. That's exactly it. Like, I will never, ever cross a 7-lane highway. And on top of that, there are like 7-lane highways just in the middle of a town. And I'm not doing that. And I live in a small town. We don't have any like 6-lane roads, but at the same time, we do have 4-lane and 5-lane roads, and none of those have sidewalks. Where the fuck am I supposed to walk to? The closest place I can walk to is the local gas station. For the car, there's got to be one nearby. Or, what else can I get to? Maybe like a bar. I think there's a bar somewhere near here. There might be like a candy shop somewhere close by. I live near a train station, so there's like a few things. But if I didn't live near that train station, that walk would take me like 10 to 15 minutes. And I could drive that in one. I would never drive that. It's literally within walking distance. But people here would, because this is the United States and this is where you drive everywhere, and it's driving me crazy. I moved to New York City to try to see if it would help, and it did not. There's just more cars.
To get Saudi Arabia to put more oil on the market. Clearly, they didn't. Here's that exchange.
I just walk on the side. Yeah, no, like it's here, hold on, actually. And this is actually really easy to explain. Strong Towns has a great little section on this. Or Not Just Bikes does. So there's these I literally walk on. All right, so that's a really pretty town. I think that's Amsterdam or something. So yeah, so this is what it looks like on most places. There's like a nice little sidewalk here.
Covered in terrible
You know this? The Not Just Bikes guy? I love this guy. He's great. And so yeah, so you could walk like right there on that grassy bit. or you can walk down here on the sidewalk. But that's basically your options in most of the United States. You've either got this grassy bit right next to this, and this is not a highway, by the way. This is just a road, or as Not Just Bikes guy would say, this is probably a strode. Or you've got this little rinky-dink sidewalk with maybe a tiny bit of grass separating you from like cars going 40 miles an hour or 60 kilometers per hour, I think. Like it's nuts. The parking lot's literally bigger than Walmart. Yeah. No, the parking lot for most of these places is huge. There's like this big shopping mall near here that they just put in. I want to say like 5 years ago or something, and I just looked at that thing and said, "Why? Why did you guys do this?" There were so many cute stores everywhere, and they just wrecked it. They just wrecked it all. But yeah, so here we are the most gas dependent country because we just don't invest in public transportation. We don't invest in making it simple for people to walk places, or actually that Not Just Bikes channel gets really into it. Bicycle lanes in my town, there are some, and I have been meaning to actually write into them and tell them that they need to fix them because they're not really bicycle lanes. It's just an extra part of the road that cars constantly drive into. So it's not really like I don't see people in them, and I don't think anybody would be comfortable using them because it's nuts, and this is not what I thought it was. That's awesome. Oh, wait.
Candidate Herschel Walker is again pushing back against that explosive report that he paid for an ex-girlfriend.
Sorry, I know this is like bouncing all over the place, but yeah, it's wild here in the U.S.
Calling the allegations a lie.
I also live in a relatively safe place, though, so I can't complain,
Incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock, the crucial seat could potentially help flip control of the Senate.
So he says he doesn't know them, but he totally does. Totally. Let's see, what is this? Ukrainian president accuses Russia of atomic blackmail. Yep, that is what they're doing.
Its new term today with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson on the bench for the first time.
Ooh, yeah. So we got a new Supreme Court justice too. Yes. Bicycle lanes that are just an extension of the highway. Yeah, and it makes it so incredibly annoying when I see all the cars that just do not give a shit. Because they will just look at that lane and just slide right into it as if it were just another piece of the road. And I was just looking at it like, that is exactly why nobody comes here on a bicycle. Because nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody. Like, why would anyone use a bicycle knowing that they're going to be just brushing up against cars? Yeah, I mean, it's fair. Like, I understand. Like, I used to drive a motorcycle, and the first thing I noticed is that the second you get rid of the doors and the windshield and everything, you're just out on the road. And that box gives you such an illusion of protection. It makes you feel like you're almost invincible. But then when you just speed up a little bit and you start pushing it and you get a little riskier with those turns, that's when you lose control and those big accidents happen. And being a cyclist in a place where every single person drives, like, what I'm saying is everybody drives. Okay, so it's not just like people that have to get to work and back. Like, it's the teenagers that brought in like 6 people into the car and then threw in an extra 4 in the trunk. It's the ones that are like old, like really, really old, and they're just like, I'm just gonna go to the grocery store, why not? And they're just like barely seeing anything on the road. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I bet there are no accidents because when you can drive as fast as you want, you drive as fast as you would naturally want to go on those roads. Here, like, you're trying to stick to a speed limit, and then everybody sees that limit and says, I can go over that. Like, that's way too small. And that's where we get accidents. We get accidents all the time. Like, I think I get on the highway 3 times a day sometimes. And there will be an accident at least one of those times. And that's insane. I'm literally going 20 miles down the road, maybe. Like, all right, maybe 20 miles is kind of a lot, but I mean, it is. Yeah, it's like 20 miles down the road, and on one of those trips, I will end up somehow running into an accident, and I think that's ridiculous. It's insane. Yeah, yeah, no, it's crazy. It's literally crazy.
Take up several hot
Hold on,
button
let's see
issues,
what's going on
including
here.
affirmative action, whether business owners can refuse service to LGBTQ customers, and the power that state legislatures have over federal elections. Senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer joins me live on the phone from the Supreme Court with more on that.
Yeah, we've got nice big roads, although a lot of our infrastructure is kind of falling apart. That's actually why they passed a huge infrastructure bill recently. Like, honestly, as much as I want to complain about the government, they've been on a roll lately. They did pass this like huge infrastructure bill. Biden's set to pardon marijuana convictions. Like, they got a new Supreme Court justice that's probably gonna maybe make the court a tiny bit more fair. Not really. And we're looking at another election now, like in 4 weeks, I think. Like, hopefully this new election just comes in and we get like a whole brand new fresh wave of people that are actually looking to do shit. Because that's the problem I've seen, is that half of the government is just there to sit down and collect a paycheck, and I'm sick of those people, because they literally, like, the only thing they're there to do is to obstruct progress. And I hate that shit. All right, man, take it easy.
Hey, good morning, Diane.
If you come back, I might be playing video games. I think it's time for a lunch break and some video games. But I will be doing news maybe every Friday. So take it easy.
Engaging with the attorneys, actually surprising a lot of
Let's
people.
see what's going on here.
The amount of questioning, her breadth and command of the issues today for a new justice, something unusual. And they're doing it before a packed courtroom, Diane. This is the first time in 2.5 years that the public is back in the courtroom. So a full house, two big decisions out of the gate as well. You mentioned them. The justices
two big decisions.
Some decisions in pending cases from over the summer. On one, they rejected a fresh challenge to the Biden administration's vaccine mandate.
Okay.
Hospital workers. This was a COVID
That's not bad.
Rule that was challenged, and they turned away 2 appeals from gun owners who sought to overturn a government ban on bump stocks. You'll remember those are those devices that can turn semi-automatic weapons into a machine gun-like weapon.
Okay.
The ATF banned those; they were challenged, but today the justices said that can stand.
So
yeah,
key cases
that's great.
On the docket this session, and how could the court's
I'm sick of that shit.
How could Justice Jackson make an impact on those?
There are a lot of big cases on this docket, Diane. If last term we were talking a lot about guns and abortion, this is the term that we could be talking a lot about race. Of course, the Supreme Court.
Race? Oh, that's going to get tricky.
Higher education, 2 big cases on the use of
like, as much as I support, racial diversity and everything, that gets tricky real fast.
In Alabama, whether black voters in Alabama have been basically silenced and sidelined because there's only one district in that state. You mentioned it at the top, business owners. Can they refuse to serve LGBTQ couples? There's a challenge out of Colorado and their anti-discrimination law. That's a big one. And today, Diane, they're hearing a case about how much power the EPA has to regulate wetlands. Tens of millions of acres of wetlands in this country are regulated by the EPA, significant consequences for the environment. Of course, property owners also challenging these regulations. That's on the table today. You asked about Justice Jackson. It's a very conservative court still, of course. They are making an aggressive shift to the right, which started last term. Justice Jackson won't change that, of course. She's one of the liberals replacing retired Justice Stephen Breyer. But we don't know how she'll impact this court. It's the first time a black woman is on the bench. Also the first time a former federal public defender is on this bench, someone from Florida. She was Florida raised. So a lot of dimensions, and she's showing just today, Diane, that she will be very active in the conversation behind the scenes and in public.
All right, Devin Dwyer, we appreciate it as always, Devin. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
I love how people said that she was unqualified for that position when literally we accepted a woman that's only ever really done like theoretical law. Like what does it take to be unqualified? Ooh, yeah, what's this?
Supreme Court and the start of a new era. The first oral arguments of this term were heard yesterday.
Okay, what are the first oral arguments?
Court, as newly sworn in Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson took her place on the bench for the first time. This is also the first time 4 women have presided over the court. NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell.
Why do they all have their hands in such weird positions? I'm always so paranoid about that, but what is it?
Was an active participant actually on her first day on the job as the Supreme Court heard a challenge regarding wetlands regulation. What can you tell us about that, and just kind of walk us through what we saw from her, what her role was like yesterday, and if it gives us any clues as how she'll be as a justice?
Well, being inside the courtroom for that oral argument, it was interesting to see when Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson first spoke up and began asking questions of the lawyers who were arguing the case, because it was the first chance to see her in action, engaging with the lawyers, showing her knowledge of the case, and working with her colleagues on the bench. And at times, some of the other justices who have more seniority on the Supreme Court referenced things that Justice Jackson said and worked that into some of their own questioning. And she clearly knew the case well, as you would expect. She's obviously got a lot of experience coming onto the high court. And what was notable about it in some ways is the first day you might expect someone would sort of take it all in, perhaps sit back and watch how others did. She jumped right in and was fully engaged and participating. And it was a lively debate over an issue that in some ways is very technical, but has far-reaching impacts for people who own property in areas where there are wetlands that are potentially regulated by the federal government. So we learned a lot in that court session about what it means to be adjacent to a federally regulated wetland. And there was a lot of back and forth about the definitions the government would use. And Justice Jackson was asking the lawyer representing the people bringing this case, and it's been a long-time fight against the EPA. Remember, a conservative court here, the justices who might be inclined to say less regulation. Justice Jackson is a part of the 3 justices on the liberal wing, so she doesn't change the balance. She was asking some questions about would those homeowners who purchased the land have had some advance warning about the fact that the property they were buying was a wetland and could have potentially been subject to this sort of regulation. So the particulars of that case will be known over time. What really stood out to me, Savannah, was that she was an active participant right from the start of her first case in oral argument.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kelly, also quickly, the Supreme Court made one of its first rejections as well. This involved the MyPillow CEO in connection with the 2020 election. Tell us what happened there and where it goes from here.
One of the standard things the court does at the beginning of the term is puts out a list of cases that they are either going to accept or reject, and they rejected the case of Mike Lindell, who has been a very prominent, regular rally goer, almost a star at the rallies for former President Trump. He has a defamation case that Dominion Voting Systems has brought against him because of his allegations that have been repeatedly known to be false about Dominion Voting Systems having improperly dealt with the 2020 election. He was trying to get the Supreme Court to take that case, and they said no, they rejected that. So a lower court will still go forward with Dominion suing Mike Lindell for defamation. That's one of the prominent cases that certainly popped off the page of many that the court was either accepting or rejecting yesterday. Savannah?
Also, look ahead to today. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments on an Alabama case that could potentially affect voting rights in the U.S. more broadly. What should we know about it?
This will be one of the marquee cases of this term. And so as we learn more about how it unfolds today, this will dominate a lot of headlines. Voting rights in Alabama, when you think of all the ways that that could affect American life and how the issues of elections are so important in our national debate.
We have a great host of guests today. They are joining us as we speak. In the meantime, a quick reminder, you can always ask us questions, either by sending a DM, commenting on a tweet, Sending DMs is probably the easiest. If you
Hi, this
DM me,
is
I will
Curtis.
be sure to see it. I will bring it up. But it looks like we have got at least a plurality of our speakers here. So I'm going to go ahead and call them out. We've got our economic reporter, Victoria Guida, who is a regular guest, of course, on our Twitter Spaces. We've got the Labor Department's chief economist, Joelle Gamble, who we are so excited to be joining us. This is her second time on this
So
Twitter
if I talk,
Spaces.
they can't hear me.
We've got the Economic Policy
Yeah.
Institute's Elise Gold,
Okay.
and then the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
Sorry, just gotta be sure.
Chief economist Curtis.
So this is the
Gray.
September
thank
jobs
you
report.
so much, you three, for joining us today.
Trying
We are
to-
so excited to talk through not only today's numbers, but the numbers that we got earlier this week and what all of that might mean for workers.
See if I can drop the volume a little bit.
So we're going to start off the same way that we normally do, which is I just want to kind of do a round robin.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't listen to that. So anyways, that was the political jobs report over there. That's on Twitter right now. And I think, oops, we're going to look at Biden's marijuana stocks. And then I will talk real quick about how the universe isn't really real locally.
Has also called on governors across the country to do the same. The news sending pot stocks skyrocketing. Are we jumping to conclusions, Tim?
Well, let's understand the dynamics here. We're talking about criminal justice. This is different than federalization. This is different than stuff that's going to get them listed on exchanges and the things that the capital markets really want. Investors want that. But it's very important that this is incremental. And what's very important about this announcement is, first of all, this wasn't made in a vacuum. This to me is an announcement in close conjunction.
Look at
with
these.
something that will
These are like $6 the
Senate,
other day.
We've been talking about in the
Oh, this is still like $6.
Safe Act, safe banking to the extent.
But look at this. They're up like 20%. Oh my God.
There could be something that happens. I'm not going to.
But yeah, the problem with all this marijuana stocks is that none of them are in. None of these marijuana stocks are able to. None of these marijuana companies can put their money in banks. So they just keep on.
I'm going to tell you that there's no question to me
getting
that this
effed.
wasn't just a statement made in a vacuum. The other most important thing about what he said is he alluded to the Schedule and the Schedule 1 status of cannabis and that it's the same as heroin and LSD. That dynamic, you remove that dynamic and you make the profitability of this sector night and day different. So free cash flow, things that have been, look, the big headwinds for the sector have been about gross margin and the illicit markets and things that are a function of the federal market. But this gets right to, if you get rid of 280E, which is essentially the tax code that
Look at that.
would
Look at
apply to
this.
any Schedule 1 or illegal activity, and you remove that,
Oof.
it changes free cash flow dynamics for the sector. So it's a very, very exciting day. It was a long time in coming. This wasn't whimsical, and criminal justice is critical to get actually other people in the Senate then to be on board.
No, you've been waiting for this. People have been tweeting about it over the last couple of weeks. I mean, this is...
Yeah, it's nuts.
Tim can
Oh, yeah, you have a question. What's up?
Those seminal moments in the space that years to come, we'll talk about this day when it all changed. Now, MSOS, I think, is one of the ETFs. You obviously have one as well, Tim, but I'm not saying you go out and chase these things because I'm sure there's going to be some ebbs and flows, but I think the space for the first time in a while, you're not going to see that downward air gap volatility like you've seen over the last couple of years. I think now it's investable for a period of time.
Yeah, and I'll just say this. It's kind of a brilliant political move. This was a campaign promise by Biden.
Look at that. Look at that. It was like $9 for the whole day and then just right up the second they announced it. Oh my God, I love seeing it. This is crazy how that went. Just chunk. Is there any more of this? U.S. job growth falls short of expectation. Oh no. That's not good.
The low water mark, and
Time of payrolls up.
Bad news, good news, good news, bad. 0.7. 6.7, and that equals the best level. We've had a couple of 6.7s in June.
16 years old. And if I go in the USA as a 16 years old, I have a bigger chance of buying a gun than buying beer. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is true, yeah. You have a bigger chance of buying a gun than buying beer at 16, yeah. Yeah, they did a whole undercover special about it. Some like 13-year-old basically just went around buying guns. And Planet X, I mean, yeah, they will do anything to buy a vote. So will the Republicans. Like, that's politics. That's the whole point of politics, is to just get a vote. Like, they're doing things that people want, and so people will vote for that so that they continue doing things that they want. And if a candidate is offering you something you don't want, then they get less votes. That's the whole point of an election. Just is what it is. It's not really about right or wrong. That's kind of a very black and white kind of way to look at things at this point. You know? Banning guns won't stop school shootings. Yeah. Yeah, actually you're right. Banning guns wouldn't stop school shootings. It would just make them harder to do, you know? But banning guns in general is just unrealistic. There's just no... It just wouldn't happen. As much as I would love it to happen, maybe one here or there, it wouldn't. Like, I'm not saying that there would be no guns, but what I am saying is that there would be people that wouldn't have them. Specifically the people that would run in and, you know, shoot up schools. But, alright, so here's my thing about guns. We have come so far, you know, like we are such a technologically advanced civilization, right? So why is it that the guns don't come with better tech? Do you know what I mean? Like, we could theoretically add a fingerprint scanner to these guns. Actually, I think there are guns with fingerprint scanners. Hold on. Wait, nuclear bomb radius. Yeah. Guns with fingerprint scanners. Boom. January 11, 2022. The Hill. I don't know what this is. This might not be verifiable. But see, guns that can be used with you know what? Let's find a more reputable thing here. Patriot Tech, Smart Tech Foundation, put it up. Fingerprint access to these guns. And yes, I agree. I agree. The only way to stop a guy with a gun is if you have a gun. Because not having a gun in a gunfight is literally like the moral of many tales. Like, it's like, why is there a saying that goes, bring a knife to a gunfight? You know? What if you damage your trigger finger? I don't think that's... Is that your trigger finger? I don't even think that's your trigger finger. That's a different finger. But, okay, let's say you do damage your trigger finger. You take the gun in, and you say, I need an alteration to this. And so you recode your new finger, whatever that finger is. And if you're talking about completely losing that finger, then I think it's going to be hard to use a gun anyways. Like, I'm just putting that one out there. Like, if you did completely lose that finger, then it would be difficult, and you would need whatever finger it is that you're using for the gun, which again could be recoded onto this. And this is, you know, this is just like a simple upgrade. It's just a fingerprint gun, and then that way when you use it, you know, they know it's you. And then at the very least, we avoid, you know, all those kids that are shooting each other, because they wouldn't have the code to it. And like, you know, there's got to be at least one video on this about this on YouTube. I mean, they already have the really nice safes and everything, but I mean, come on, that's not really... Look at this. This is 6 years ago. Some kid made a fingerprint lock smart gun. What is this?
Or anybody else from pulling the trigger on a gun that doesn't belong to them.
And here's another thing. You could make it so that it codes for more than one finger. And so it would need all three, or at the very least, you could recode it for the next three or whatever it is.
Why can't we do the same thing for our guns?
But the firearm
10 seconds before I shot you. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. You're right. Yeah. Because you're right. If you did injure your finger right before you shot somebody, yeah, your gun would be useless. That is fair. And Uvalde, the police were scrolling through Facebook. Yeah, Uvalde was a damn shame. Uvalde was one of the biggest disgraces I think that we've ever seen. I love the police. I do. I think police are incredibly necessary, but we did fail that one. That's a really bad look because they did all just stand there, you know. And as much as I support the police and they should have a right to, you know, live, their job is to be in a dangerous situation where, you know, we are all not comfortable being. That's the whole point of having a police officer. So when that situation arises, they need to act. But back to the question about damaging your trigger finger 10 seconds before getting shot or shooting. See, that's hard. That is hard. Again, I think that you could make an argument that it's not just the trigger finger. It could be getting a majority lock. But on top of that, fingerprint identification isn't even that great anyways. Did you know that you have the same fingerprints as somebody else? They did a whole thing on this. Somebody accidentally fingerprint doubles. Like your fingerprints aren't actually unique. It's just something that people came up with. Basically, they are okay, so the chances that somebody else has your exact fingerprints for all 10 fingers, very, very low. But it's not zero. And that is the problem, that people think it's zero, but it's not. There was actually a case of some kid who was in Chicago, I think. Fingerprint crimes that were disproven. I think that's probably the best way to put this. And I'm just going to click on this one. But essentially, there were a few people that literally got charged for a crime in a country they'd never been to because their fingerprints were there. And let me see if we can find it here.
To find a match using a method called ACE-V. First, they analyze the print and the surface it's on to see if it's viable for examination.
But it could be that you have more than one finger that gets scanned, and that way it works. In Switzerland, there are no shootings because everybody... I agree with that. I think in America, we could definitely use more military training because we don't get trained in using guns at all. And they're everywhere. Like, it should probably be something that is almost mandatory in schools to teach kids to use a gun. And I know that that might be extreme, but like, if we saved it for like your last year of school, yeah, it makes sense. Like, we should all know how to use a gun. We should all know how many bullets are in it. We should all know, you know, at what point somebody might be out of bullets and it might be a good time to run out of the room. Yeah, and that too. If everybody has a gun, who's going to get shot? Like, you know, if we all armed ourselves. Look, all right, the way I think about it is there was a time when we were knights, right? There was castles, there were knights, they rode horses, and they carried their swords. They carried their swords everywhere because that's what you did. You needed to have these things or else, you know, what good were you? Now, at the same time, that doesn't mean that everybody had a sword. Knaves, you know, random peasants, like not everybody had swords. But having one puts you in a different class than not having one. You know, and that was at a time when our society was focused on strength. Nowadays, we don't have to focus so much on strength. It's more about progress. And, you know, some of that's technological, some of that's cultural, some of that's whatever it is. But that doesn't mean that we are all safe. And to be safe, you need the weapon of the time. For the knights, it was a sword. For us, it's guns. I'm not saying they should be banned, but I am saying that we live in a world that has made so many technological advancements that I think it's ridiculous that we don't have smart guns. At least smarter guns. You know, like the guns that we use today are all just bullet, gunpowder, explosion, fire. I get that, but why is there no check? Like, I'm not saying there has to be like a mentality check. It doesn't have to be like one of those things where it's like if your heartbeat is over 80 beats per minute, you can't fire the gun because clearly you're stressed out. Like, no, obviously, like if you are in a situation where you're trying to defend yourself with a gun, you will probably be stressed out. I'm not trying to make it difficult for you to defend yourself, but at the same time, I think it's ridiculous that we have literal children picking up these guns and just shooting each other. You know, like it's insane to me. It's and like, what are we doing if we can't at least figure that out? You know, we've got like I was talking about it earlier, Planet X. We've got these nukes that can literally take out like a city block, basically, like a small village. Yeah, but we've got nukes that are like able to basically hit you with pinpoint accuracy. We've got a drone that can slice a man apart with like ninja stars pretty much from a balcony, and we're in a completely different country while we do that. Why do our guns all function on the same principle of just bullet, boom, metal, dead? You know, like we should at least have made some progress. I think the last time that I heard about like actual smart guns. Actually, wait, can we just type in smart guns? Can we see what comes in? 4 years ago, 2 years ago. Oh, wait, hold on. All right. So somebody asked, is it possible to build a smarter gun? This one's talking about unlocking like your iPhone. I'm super interested, so we're just going to hop right into it. Eventually, I will talk about how reality isn't real, but let's just take it slow here. This is 40 minutes long. All right, hold on. I don't have 40 minutes.
The remarkable thing about this gun demonstration isn't that it's taking place inside a pretty typical office building.
Wall Street Journal, by the way. Here, I'll link it so that anyone can.
Well, we came here to the Munich, Germany headquarters of firearms manufacturer Armatix to see is its soon-to-be-released smart gun, the IP9. Smart because woven into the weapon's mostly plastic hardware are sensors, circuits, and software that capture.
This is what I'm talking about.
Trigger warning lights, and most importantly, trigger whether or not you can pull the trigger.
So I'm wrestling you right now.
Yeah.
You can stop it from.
Yes, I've stopped it.
Georges Janin is the scientist responsible for developing the IP9.
This is 2017, by the way.
The company hopes to get this
so this is
on the market by the fall.
5 years ago.
3 sensors inside detect a finger tap code that's set by the user.
So a law enforcement officer, for example, would he or she.
All right. Okay. All right. Hold on. All right. Oof. How much will a smart gun cost? I don't know. That is a fair question, but at the same time, regular guns are pretty expensive as they are. So, anyways, I think what they're saying is it's something where you will go like, da 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 da, you know, da 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 da, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I'll have the time to remember my da 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 da, right? So that's the real question. At what point are we just making it really hard on ourselves? You know, because you're right. First, I was talking about a fingerprint scanner. Now we're talking about, you know, giving a little diddly to the gun. Like, you know, what am I? Also, how long is the code? Is it like a 3-finger thing, or is it like a, like, do I have to remember like a whole little music note? Like, what are we doing here?
When it starts, and we'll use the functionality to disable it pretty fast.
I think, all right, so here's what I think. I think the problem is that the people applying the tech and the people using the guns are not the same people. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, the people that want to use the guns are not the people coming up with the tech to make the guns safer. And so they're coming up with these solutions that are just not realistic. Like this guy made this diddly gun, and like I just cannot imagine you sitting there trying to diddly a little gun while, you know, a gangster's coming at you, or, you know, you're about to get somebody intruding into your home, or God knows what's happening to you. Like, this is such a, like, can we see how long is this?
Some kind of emergency.
Biometric technologies like fingerprint readers, I'm told, aren't fast enough yet for ready, activate, fire.
So this is
But
faster than
NASA says
biometrics?
the IP9 is designed to allow for additional, yet to be built components.
No way that is faster than biometrics. Did you guys see that? It was like a like no, man, no. But all right, but again, this is 2017. It's been 5 years. Yeah, right. Wait, don't shoot, don't shoot. I'm putting the hold on. It's the right and then the left and then the fuck. Like you're gonna die, man. This is not a solution. This is it's I mean it's a step, but it's not. It's smart guns. Let's see 2022. Yeah, 2022. All right, okay. Soon, smart gun up for sale. This is also 2017.
Who penned the bill?
No. Let's see 2022. Okay, so this is 8 months ago from Reuters. Is this even going to be like actual guns, or are these going to be like weird assault guns? All right, hold on.
It's a frosty January day at this firing range in Boise, Idaho.
So how does this one work?
Rangemaster checks and readies to fire a new prototype of what might be the handgun of the future. Developed by Lodestar Works, this 9mm
Okay.
prototype smart gun, equipped with fingerprint reader, passcode, and a way to lock and unlock it from a mobile phone.
Right now we're testing 2 different.
You can unlock it with your. You lose fine motor skills. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. Your heart's pumping. You don't really like, like I've seen people get the shakes after just, going on an amusement park ride. I can't even imagine what it'd be like if you were actually under attack.
The opposite side with your index finger more when you're in a shooting position.
Rob Regent is a mechanical engineer with
Hold on.
Opposite side with your
So wait.
index. Right now we're testing 2 different positions for that biometric from an ergonomic standpoint.
So they have one up here.
First being right here where you'd either touch it with your thumb.
With your thumb?
Index finger. The opposite side.
Or your index finger? Oh, okay, all right, hold on.
More when you're in a shooting position.
Rob Regent is a mechanical engineer.
All right, I mean, actually, that one might not be too bad.
Building the Lodestar prototype.
But again, like if it's slower than the pattern, and then again, the pattern seems like such bullshit. Like look, again, I am not like against guns. I think there is a middle ground. I think there's a safe middle ground. But at the same time, like, what are we doing here? Like, if you sweat and doesn't recognize, yeah, you're fucked. Yeah, I can. And so again, I think the tech is almost there, but we need to put time into it. We need to actually put an effort in this.
The third method is the
like they said, you can unlock this from your phone. What does that mean?
And basically, we have a mobile application that communicate wirelessly to the gun, and you can lock or unlock from any of those methods altogether.
Personalized smart guns.
All right, hold on. Now I have an idea. What if this is like, how there's those cars that you have like the little let's say you have the little key, right? And then when you're in the car, you can turn it on, but when you're outside of the car, it doesn't register. You could basically have a gun that only registers when it's on you or when it's like in your vicinity. I mean, I guess the problem there is that if somebody took it and they were right next to you, they could still shoot you. But we have that problem anyway. You still have that problem now. So now it'd be like, but then you have to carry the little thingamabob around. But again, it'd be like a tiny thingamabob. And what if it was like an earring? What if you could like put it in your ear or like a ring? And like if you're wearing the ring, then the gun works. But then what if you forget the ring? Let's see where this is going. I just want to know what the Bluetooth means.
May finally be available to U.S. consumers after 2 decades of questions about reliability and concerns they will usher in a new wave of government regulation.
And it just went, and you're hot now.
And there's that too, yeah.
Glazer told Reuters
because if it's a Bluetooth app, then what if they just block the app or you can't buy it? Like,
company came after hearing one too many stories about children shot while playing with an unattended gun.
I'd seen the abject failure of every policy to try to do something about gun safety.
Yeah, yeah.
Regulations.
Look, sad kids is sad. I know. I get it. Dead kids are sad. But we need solutions. We can't just focus on this part. Implant a chip in your brain. Well, actually, yeah, they have little subdermal implants. You could theoretically put one in your hand. But then now we're getting into the like, do you want the biohacking cyberpunk future or not? You know,
Lawsuit.
like here, hold on. Let's see, because this is this where they were at 8 months ago? Is this going to be different, or are we just going to look at more of the same? This is literally the same guy. It's literally him. All right, hold on. So that's the first one.
Tom Holland is the founder and president of Smart Guns LLC, a Kansas-based company also working to produce a smart gun.
It's a ring. Oh no! Did I freeze? Am I back? All right, but yeah, this is literally a ring.
Handgun.
What is this?
It's not smart technology, but I feel comfortable having that in my home because I don't have to worry about little kids getting into it or a despondent teenager getting after it or who knows what. You know what I mean?
Holland's gun utilizes radio frequency identification technology through a ring the user wears.
Once that.
Okay, there you go. So this is the ring one, and the other one is the whatever one. Oh, did everybody else leave? Maybe. Oh boy. But anyways, the point here is that smart guns are the future. We just got to figure it out. Put the time in. And I think that means that I must take a break because my internet just cannot handle anymore. Wait! But before we go, let's check out these.
Integrating various kits. It can range from 5.56 by 45 millimeters to 7.62 by 50.
What is this?
Its impact on the aerodynamic capabilities of the vehicle is minimal, and the unique carbon-based. We're looking at a weapon that, if lost during a fight, can't be used against its owner.
So see, this one's got a bracelet instead of the ring.
Military drones give armies a serious tactical advantage, but experts from the Turkish company Guard have managed to take them to a whole new level. This is a combat drone that allows you to shoot while remaining relatively safe. It's equipped with an assault rifle that fires 556.
Trying to see if I'm still doing all right. It says I'm not dropping frames, but I don't know.
The recoil of the weapon is absorbed by the stabilization system.
Jesus. Look at that. This is a drone that they strapped a machine gun onto. It's literally like an AK. Actually, that might be is that an M16? It doesn't really matter. The point is they just strapped a machine gun onto a drone. What?
Keltec P50. Although this weapon looks like a prop from a sci-fi movie, it can be quite useful. The Keltec P50 semi-automatic pistol was released in January this year. It can be converted into a carbine, a submachine gun, or become a gun for a drone. All of the details are located on the upper receiver, except for the trigger, so that it can easily be adapted for remote firing. The lower receiver got a Picatinny rail and special mounts, so that the gun can be quickly supplemented with a folding buttstock and a vertical handguard. The caliber of cartridges used is 5.7 by 28 millimeters, and can video
damn, that's huge.
A digital screen,
right?
A collimator sight, and even a built-in computer.
What is this? What? They say this has a built-in computer?
It features a high-resolution video camera, a digital screen, a column.
This is where I call bullshit. What? We're putting the tech in. We are. We're just not putting it in where we should be.
To effectively track and assess every shot, even remotely. All information collected by the rifle is transmitted in real time to an app on your smartphone.
This is nuts. Look at this thing.
Why is this needed though? To increase the effectiveness of training for novice shooters. The MR155 Ultima also opens up a whole new range of shooting competitions. For example, shooters in different parts of the world can compete against each other. And of course, this digital technology will be useful for the military, because it will allow them to adjust the actions of each individual soldier.
Look at that. Oh my god.
155 Ultima is a 12mm caliber rifle with a 6-round magazine.
Come on. Oh, that thing's gorgeous to look at, though. And see, this is what I'm saying. Like, we're putting in the time. We're putting in the technology. And it just says access denied. But that's what I'm saying. What if all the guns said access denied? I mean, I'm not saying that that would be, you know, the best situation. But at the same time, like, if these were problems that everybody had, not just, you know, the person that is now in an unfortunate situation with their gun, then yeah. Did it interrupt? No, I just paused.
Corner shot. Despite the fact that this device is not a novelty, it is still worth our attention because it makes the work of special services.
Is this so that you can wrap around the corner?
Safer and more effective. As you can guess from the name, corner shot allows.
At this point, you know, we're just being stupid here. We're just losing it.
The manufacturer,
Did it?
an Israeli company that goes by the same name, offers several versions of this mechanical device.
All right, then. I think that's it. I think I gotta get going.
They all consist of 2 elements.
But I will be doing politics again next Friday. And if you guys want to tune in, then we can, you know, have a nice little chat about all this again. I think I know, but it's just going to keep overheating at this point, I think. So I'm going to give it a nice little break. I'm going to let you guys take a break. And, you know, we'll just wait, next stream next Monday. I'd love to stream on Monday, but it's going to be Friday. I might stream again later today. It's just not going to be politics. It's going to be like video games and stuff, which is fine. You know, it's just going to be like Valorant or Genshin or something. But we'll talk more about guns and politics and all that stuff Friday. But
The firearm is attached to the
how often do you stream? I'm trying to stream more often. I try to stream twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. Yeah. Right now, it's going to be Fridays, Thursdays, maybe a little bit on Wednesdays. And then we'll just play it by ear on the other nights. Yeah. But Mondays and Tuesdays, definitely not.
The situation around the corner, but also to aim before firing. In its extended version.
Also, look at this. This is nuts here. If you guys want to check out this video, it's actually a lot of fun. It's got like all these crazy cool new guns that are coming out. It's got like drones and stuff. It was nice meeting you too. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm gonna call it stream here just because it's getting a little too hot in here, I guess. But take it easy, stay safe, especially you, General Pro. I mean, I know that nothing's going on right in Romania, but still, take it easy, okay? I will catch you all on the next one.